Do you know what really annoys me? Watching the preparers spend their entire budget on trendy tactical gear and frozen astronaut food when they haven't even taken care of basic things that could save their family hundreds of dollars right now. Look, I've been preparing since 2012, and my biggest mistake in the first year was buying one of everything instead of acting wisely. Today, I will share 17 items that every smart prepper should buy in bulk. And number 14 will surprise you because it is what 90% of preparers completely ignore. The thing is, bulk buying is not just preparation for emergencies. Considering that inflation has hit grocery stores harder than a hurricane on the coast, bulk buying is one of the wisest financial decisions you can make today. I tracked my expenses for a whole year. By switching to bulk purchases of just these 17 items, I saved over $3,000. This is real money that you can spend on other supplies, or perhaps even enjoy life while preparing for the unknown. So let's move on to number 1. This item is so undervalued that it's almost a crime. Garbage bags. But not just any garbage bags. I am talking about sturdy construction bags. Thick black ones that can hold 55 gallons and won't tear if looked at the wrong way. Why are they so important? Because garbage bags are not just for trash when you're in survival mode. In 2014, I learned this lesson from my own experience during a week-long power outage after an ice storm. These bags became emergency ponchos, temporary windows, water collection systems, and even liners for sleeping bags to add warmth. One box of 100 construction bags costs about $30 and can literally save your life in dozens of different ways. Think about it. You can use them for emergency shelter, protecting supplies from moisture, disposing of contaminated materials, creating screens for privacy, or even as vapor barriers in winter clothing. The versatility of these bags is incredible, and they take up almost no storage space. Put 10 boxes in your garage, and you will have 1,000 solutions for problems you haven't even thought about. Number 2 might seem obvious, but you are probably not buying enough of them. Batteries. And I'm not just talking about grabbing a pack of 4 when they're on sale. I mean buying them by the whole box. What most people don't realize is that batteries have a shelf life of 5 to 10 years when stored properly. The price difference between buying 4 batteries and 48 is colossal. You literally pay 3 times more for a battery when you buy those small packs at the checkout. Stock up on AAA, 9-volt batteries, and especially those button batteries that power so much small electronics. A useful tip that took me years: keep your batteries in a cool, dry place, not in the devices themselves. I store my supplies in labeled plastic containers in the basement where the temperature remains stable year-round. And here's something that might seem unexpected. Don't limit yourself to just alkaline batteries. Also invest in lithium batteries. They cost more, but they last 3 times longer and work better in extreme temperatures. When the electricity goes out and your flashlight is the only source of light, you will thank me for this advice. The third is something I am sure you have never thought of, but after my explanation, you will wonder why you didn't do this earlier. It is cleaning rags. Simple, ordinary, inexpensive rags, not fancy ones from the store. I am talking about basic white rags that can be bought in bulk for about $15 for 24. That's why they are invaluable in a crisis situation. Paper towels are a poor supply. They are disposable, take up a lot of space, and run out quickly. But rags can be used endlessly. You can wash them, use them for first aid, personal hygiene, as water filters in emergencies, or even as fire starters if they are worn and greasy. I have about 200 of these cloths, and they take up less space than a month's supply of paper towels, when in 2020 people fought over paper products. And I calmly sat with my stash of cloths, wash them, dry them, use them again. It's that simple. The fourth and fifth go hand in hand. If you don't stock up on them, you're not really preparing. Pasta and white rice. I know what you're thinking. Everyone talks about rice and pasta. But what they don't mention is that how you store them matters. It can extend their shelf life from 2 years to 20. I learned this from experience when I had to throw away 23 kilograms of pasta that were infested with moths because I stored them improperly. Here's the secret. Immediately transfer everything to airtight containers. Add bay leaves to repel pests. And if you want to do everything at the highest level, use packages with oxygen absorbers. 50 pounds of rice currently costs about $25. The same amount in 1-pound packages will cost $75. Moreover, properly stored white rice can last for 30 years. Think about it. The rice you buy today could feed your grandchildren in an emergency. This is preparation for generations ahead. As for pasta, it's best to choose basic shapes: spaghetti, penne, macaroni. Elegant views are stored worse and cost significantly more. Buy them when they're on sale, which usually happens every 6 to 8 weeks in most grocery stores. I carefully watch the prices, and pasta often drops from $1.50 a pound to 50 cents during sales. That's when you need to stock up. Fill the cart. People may look at you with confusion, but when pasta costs $8 a pound during the next crisis, you will be the one laughing. And here is a piece of advice that no one talks about. Whole wheat pasta actually stores better than white because the oils in it act as natural preservatives. Don't forget to organize your supplies properly, using the oldest products first. In sixth place, we have dried beans. If you don't buy them in bulk, you're literally throwing money away. A 15-kilogram bag of pinto beans costs about $20. That's less than $1 per kilogram for one of the most nutritious protein sources on the planet. Compare this to canned beans that cost $3 per kilogram, and you save 60% right away. But what really attracts me to dried beans is their compactness. 1 kilogram of dried beans is roughly equivalent to 6 cans. This is 6 times less storage space. Black beans, pinto beans, kidney beans, chickpeas, lentils. Diversify your selection. Your taste buds will thank you when you eat from your supply in 3 months. Unlike canned goods, dried beans have no expiration date. With proper storage in oxygen-proof bags or buckets, they can last 25 to 30 years. I myself ate beans that were 15 years old, and they tasted exactly like fresh ones. Well, in 7th place, which might surprise you but is very important, coffee beans. Not ground coffee, but whole beans. This is needed not only by coffee lovers. In a long-term crisis situation, coffee will become an ideal item for barter trade. It causes addiction, brings comfort, and is something people are used to consuming every day. When supply chains break, coffee is one of the first luxury items to disappear. In 2017, I watched as the price of coffee in Puerto Rico tripled after Hurricane Maria. Tripled. People were trading generators for coffee. That's how valuable it is. Buy whole beans, as they last 5 times longer than ground coffee. Vacuum-packed whole beans can maintain quality for 2 to 3 years, while ground coffee loses freshness in a few weeks. Stock up on a manual coffee grinder that doesn't require electricity. Spend $50 on a good mechanical grinder now, and you'll enjoy fresh coffee while everyone else drinks instant coffee or suffers from caffeine deprivation. In 8th place, we have wheat grains, which may seem strange if you are just starting to cook seriously, but this is an absolute find. These are whole wheat grains before they are ground into flour. Why not store flour? Because flour spoils 6 months before a year, while wheat grains can be stored for 30 years or more under the right conditions. A 15-kilogram bag costs about $30 and can yield around 42 kilograms of flour. Flour costs $4 for a 5-kilogram bag in the store. Calculate. You save 70% and get fresher and more nutritious flour. In addition, wheat grains can be cooked and eaten whole, like rice, sprouted for fresh greens even in winter, or ground into flour as needed. I have both a manual and an electric grain mill. A manual serves as a backup in case of a power outage, and here's something most people don't know. Wheat grains can be roasted like popcorn. It's a crunchy, nutty snack that's truly addictive. My children love it. Now, the 9th point requires some initial investments, but the profit from this is enormous. Bulk meat. I don't mean buying family packs at the supermarket, although that's a decent start. I'm talking about buying a quarter, half, or a whole cow directly from farmers. Last year, I bought half a cow for 1,600,000 rubles, which gave me about 122 kilograms of beef, including ground meat and premium steaks, costing me about 700 rubles per kilogram of grass-fed organic meat. The same quality of meat in the store would cost me more than 4 million rubles. The key point is having suitable storage. You will need a freezer, preferably 2. One for meat purchases and another for everything else. And that's what no one talks about. Pack everything and vacuum yourself. Butcher paper packaging lasts for several months, but vacuum-packed meat can be stored in the freezer for 2 to 3 years without freezer burn. During the meat shortage in 2020, when ground beef cost 10 rubles per kilogram in some places, I enjoyed ribeye steaks from supplies that cost me 500 rubles per kilogram. The 10th point concerns cleaning products, and buying them in bulk will save you a fortune. Chlorine, Dishwashing detergent, laundry powder, universal cleaning agents. The markup on small packages is simply insane. 1 liter of chlorine costs 300 rubles, and small bottles of 32 ounces are 250 rubles each. You pay more than twice as much per ounce. Stock up on liter-sized packages. Or better, buy concentrates and dilute them yourself. For laundry powder, skip the expensive brands and buy commercial ones used by hotels and laundries. 50 kilograms of commercial powder costs about 40,000 rubles and is enough for a family of 4 for an entire year. The same amount in beautiful plastic bottles will cost you more than 300,000 rubles. Moreover, powder lasts almost forever, while liquid detergent can separate and lose effectiveness over time. Speaking of cleanliness, let's move on to the 11th point. And yes, I need to mention it. Toilet paper. We all went through the year 2020. We saw adults fighting in stores over Charmin. It was madness, but it taught us an important lesson. Toilet paper is one of those items that disappears first in any crisis because everyone needs it. No one wants to be without it, and it's impossible to stock up at the last moment. Buy commercial toilet paper in bulk, huge rolls that barely fit on the holder. They are not as soft as premium brands, but they last long and cost only a fraction of the price. I always keep a supply of at least 6 months. That's about 96 rolls for my family of 4. It sounds like a lot. During shortages, people paid 50,000 rubles for a pack of 12 rolls on Facebook Marketplace. My stock cost me about 120,000 rubles. Calculate how much those who panicked spent. The 12th point, the basis of any serious food storage plan, is canned goods. But here's what many do wrong. They buy regular jars from the supermarket. It's an expensive way. You need cans number 10, gigantic, like in restaurants. A 10-ounce can of green beans costs about $6 and contains approximately 6.5 ounces of product. The same amount in regular cans will cost you $15 or more. In addition, you deal with 1 can instead of 7, which means less hassle with storage and less waste. Check restaurant supply stores, online wholesale shops, or ask local restaurants where they buy their supplies. Many of these places sell goods to ordinary customers. They just don't advertise it. Stock up on vegetables, fruits, tomato sauce, and especially proteins like canned chicken and tuna. These large cans last just as long as the small ones. After the opening, you can transfer the contents to smaller containers or distribute it into smaller jars. The next item is oatmeal, but not instant, rather whole grain or steel cut in bulk packaging. 50 pounds of oatmeal costs about $35. It's only 70 cents a pound for one of the most versatile products. Oatmeal for breakfast, of course, but you can also grind oats into flour, use it in meat dishes as a supplement, make homemade granola, or even use it for skincare. Yes, oatmeal baths really help with poison ivy poisoning and other skin irritations. Stored in airtight containers, oats can last up to 30 years. They are rich in protein, fiber, and essential nutrients. During the Great Depression, families survived on oatmeal because it was filling, nutritious, and cheap. If it was good enough for our grandparents in the toughest economic times, it will suit our emergency supplies. The next point will be unexpected for you. Vitamins and supplements, particularly vitamin C, vitamin D, multivitamins, and zinc. No one talks about this in the community of preparers, but a lack of nutrients can seriously undermine health in a long-term crisis situation. You can have as much rice and beans as you want, but if you don't get the necessary vitamins and minerals, your body will start to fail. Scurvy, rickets, anemia. These are not just pirate diseases. They are real conditions that arise when your diet is not diverse. Buy them in bulk during sales. Huge packages in wholesale stores are what you need. A year's supply of multivitamins for one person will cost about $30 when purchased wholesale. That's less than 10 cents a day for protection against nutrient deficiency. Store them in a cool, dark place and they will remain effective for 2 to 3 years after the expiration date. The 15th item is vegetable oil. Here, a strategic purchase truly pays off. Oil is necessary for cooking, obtaining calories, and in extreme cases, even as fuel for lamps. But not all oils are equally suitable for storage. Coconut oil is the king of preparatory oils. It can be stored for up to 5 years without going rancid. It is solid at room temperature, making it easier to store, and has natural antibacterial properties. You can buy it in gallon containers or 5-gallon buckets. Currently, You can purchase 5 gallons of coconut oil for about $60. This is 15,000 calories per gallon, long-term ready-to-use energy. Also stock up on olive oil, but only in dark containers. Store it in the coolest, darkest place you have. Avoid vegetable and canola oils for long-term storage. They quickly become stale and are not worth the space they occupy. The 16th point may seem excessive until you understand what it is about. Salt, ordinary table salt, not pink Himalayan, though that's nice too. I am talking about plain cooking salt and salt for preserving in large quantities. Salt never spoils. Never. It has preserved food for thousands of years, and after a nuclear war, it will be just as effective as today. 50 pounds of salt cost about $8. $8. The same amount in round containers will cost you $50 or more. Salt is necessary for food preservation, maintaining electrolyte balance, cleaning wounds, and hundreds of other uses. I have 200 pounds of salt in stock. It sounds like a lot, but it takes up less space than you think. About 4 or 5 buckets. In a real long-term crisis, salt becomes currency. Throughout history, salt was exchanged ounce for gold. Roman soldiers sometimes received their pay in salt, hence the word salary. And finally, the 17th item, vinegar in large quantities. White vinegar, apple cider vinegar, even cleaning vinegar. It's true magic in a bottle. It preserves food, cleans everything from windows to wounds, eliminates odors, destroys weeds, and has 100 other uses. Buy it by the gallon, not in tiny bottles. A gallon of white vinegar costs about $3. The same amount in 16-ounce bottles will cost you $12. Apple cider vinegar with the mother is incredibly healthy. It aids digestion, regulates blood sugar levels, and even acts as a natural antibiotic. During the 1918 flu pandemic, people who regularly consumed apple cider vinegar had significantly lower infection rates. Coincidence? Perhaps. But for $3 a gallon, I'm not going to take risks. That's what most prepared people don't consider. Bulk buying is not just about having supplies, it's also about having options. When you have the necessary things in stock, you are not forced to make desperate decisions. You don't stand in line during a crisis. You don't pay panic prices. You are at home, safe, taking care of your family with supplies bought when everything was good and prices were reasonable. But let me share the real secret of successful bulk purchasing. You need a system. I use a simple 3-level system. The first level is my working pantry, the things we use every day. The second level is the backup pantry that replenishes the first level. The third level is long-term supplies, items packed for real emergencies. Everything moves from the third level to the second, and then to the first. This rotation system means nothing spoils, nothing is lost, and I always know exactly what I have. Watch the prices as if your life depends on it, because one day it might be so. I have a simple table where the regular and sale prices of everything I buy are listed. When products reach their minimum price, usually every 12 weeks, I buy enough to last until the next sale cycle, plus a small reserve. This is not hoarding, but strategic purchasing. You buy products at the best price and use them before they spoil. Storage also matters a lot. Invest in quality containers, food-grade buckets with airtight lids, foil packaging, oxygen and moisture absorbers. It may not seem the most attractive, but it determines whether the products will last 2 years or 20. The Gamma Seal lid costs $12, but it turns an ordinary bucket into an airtight container that is easy to open and close. Foil packages cost about $1 for a 5-liter size and provide perfect protection against light, oxygen, and moisture. Oxygen absorbers cost about 50 cents each and remove oxygen that causes food spoilage. The storage temperature is more important than many realize. Each increase in storage temperature by 10 degrees Fahrenheit halves the shelf life. This means that food stored at 60 degrees will last twice as long as at 70. If you don't have a basement, find the coolest pantry in the house. If you live in a hot climate, consider insulating the storage room and installing a small air conditioner during the hottest months. The electricity costs are nothing compared to the value of your food supplies. Here's another point. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Or, in this case, don't store all your supplies in one place. I learned this lesson when my basement flooded in 2018. I lost about $500 worth of food that was stored right on the floor. Now I keep supplies in 3 different places in the house, all elevated off the ground. and in waterproof containers. If one area is damaged, I will have supplies in other places. Now, let's talk a bit about the financial side of this issue, because it is very important. When you buy in bulk, you are essentially investing in goods. Prices for products have increased by an average of 3 to 4% annually over the past decade. However, recently we have seen price spikes on some goods by 20 to 30%. When you buy a 25-kilogram bag of rice today, you are locking in the current price for food that you will consume over the next year or even longer. It is like having a savings account that yields dividends and ensures food security. But what really inspires me about bulk buying is the effect of compound savings. When you save 60% on rice, 30% on pasta, 50% on beans, and 40% on cleaning supplies, that money doesn't just disappear. You can direct them to other reserves, debt repayment, or creating a reserve fund. Every dollar you save on bulk purchases is a dollar that makes you more resilient, more prepared, and better able to cope with any difficulties. Also consider that the skills you develop in wholesale purchasing and proper food storage are invaluable. You will learn about nutrition, food science, storage methods, rotation systems, and inventory management. These are not just preparation skills. These are skills that make you more independent and capable, regardless of whether an emergency ever occurs. Let's be honest, the crises we face most often are not zombie apocalypses or nuclear wars. It's job loss, medical bills, family issues, local natural disasters. When you have a 6-month supply of food and essentials bought at low prices, losing a job becomes not a catastrophe, but an inconvenience. When a hurricane approaches and everyone around is panicking and buying supplies, you calmly check your stock and perhaps buy a couple of fresh products. This calmness is invaluable. I want to share my personal experience. In 2015, I unexpectedly lost my job due to downsizing and was left with 2 weeks of severance pay. Most people would panic. But thanks to having 6 months' worth of food and essentials, all my family's basic needs were met. We didn't worry about buying groceries while I searched for a new job. We didn't have to choose between feeding the children and paying the mortgage. This reserve gave us the opportunity to breathe freely, have choices, and maintain dignity in difficult times. It took me 3 months to find a similar job, but we managed without going into debt, asking for money from family, or worsening the nutrition or stability of our children. This experience taught me that preparation is not fear, but freedom. Freedom from worry, from supply disruptions, from price manipulations, freedom to make decisions based on what is best for your family, not what circumstances impose. Here is a thought that will be useful. Stop viewing large purchases as expenses. Start seeing them as converting money into real assets. Your 23 kilograms of rice is an asset. Your packs of batteries are an asset. These assets retain or increase their value over time, unlike the money in your wallet that loses its worth due to inflation every day. Let me paint you a picture of life when you fully embrace the concept of big purchases. You go to the store once a month or even less for fresh produce. Your pantry resembles a small shop. You never run out of anything important. You laugh at headlines about shortages because they do not concern you. You save thousands of rubles a year. You sleep soundly, knowing that your family is protected from supply disruptions. This is not a fantasy. This is my real life, and it can be yours too. But here is my final thought, and it is important. Buying in bulk and preparing is not about living in fear. It is about living with wisdom. Our ancestors did all this. They stocked food for winter. They bought in bulk during the harvest. They canned, stored, and planned ahead. We have lost these skills in a world where everything is delivered on demand, but they have become more important than ever in recent generations. Supply disruptions in recent years were not anomalies but warnings. The smart move is not to hope that everything will return to normal. The smart approach is to become resilient, self-sufficient, and ready for any changes. Bulk purchasing is the foundation of this resilience. So, here is your assignment. Choose 3 items from this list, just 3. Research the best prices in your area. Find where to store them. Make your first big purchase this week, not next month. Not when you have more money. Not when there is more space. This week. Start small, but start now, because every day of waiting is a day when you waste more than necessary, and a day when you are less prepared than you could be. Remember, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to do everything at once. You just need to be a little better prepared today than you were yesterday. Buy one extra can when you go to the store. Get the larger pack instead of the smaller one. Choose the bulk option when it makes sense. These small decisions accumulate and lead to significant preparedness over time. The path to security is not paved with expensive gadgets and exotic supplies. It is built on simple staples bought in bulk: rice, beans, salt, soap. These unnoticed essentials will actually help you save money today and secure you for the future if something goes wrong. I understand this was a lot of information, but here is the main takeaway. Each of the products I mentioned will help you save money right now, in normal times. It's not about the end of the world, but about the sensible use of your resources. It's about not being a victim of price manipulations and supply chain issues. It's about taking control of your family's safety in an increasingly chaotic world. You have the knowledge. The question is, what will you do with it? Will you continue to buy overpriced small packages, living paycheck to paycheck in the hope that nothing will happen? Will you take action, start accumulating supplies, and create real security for your family? The choice is yours. But I will tell you this: as soon as you start buying in bulk, as soon as you see the savings and feel secure from having supplies, you will never return to living on the edge. You will wonder why everyone doesn't do it. And perhaps you will be the one to teach others these lessons when they are needed the most. Thank you for going through this deep analysis of wholesale purchases with me. If this information was useful to you, don't forget to subscribe to not miss future releases. Leave a comment with your best advice on wholesale shopping, and let's help each other build a more prepared community. Remember, we are all together, and together we are stronger. Until next time, this is Zach from All Professions Are Important, reminding you that preparedness is not paranoia, but practicality. Stay safe, be smart, and keep stockpiling. See you in the next video.